$29 today. We're at Terrazza Park. Here's the park where we're starting, just outside of Lake Las Vegas. And what we're going to do is take these ridges, which provide an amazing overlook of both Lake Las Vegas and Las Vegas, including the Strip. So Jean-Luc is up on this hill. I'm going to go meet him, and he's going to describe this amazing adventure that includes a lot of exciting features. Okay, here's Jean-Luc. Tell us about it.
Good morning, David. It's cold today. 29. It makes -1 or 2 Celsius. Cold. We're not familiar with such temps. Okay, we will go today crossing the bridge and then cutting the wash all along to climb this ridge where you could see on the top 2 or 3 cairn man-made, and then from there we will follow the ridge and turn on the back of it to explore the ridge that we can see from here, and we will find at the very end a way to go down the canyon on the back of the mountain here. I don't remember the name of it, the black one, and continuing down the wash over there on the other side of it, we will reach the first peak, then the second one, and it will be the turning point of this hike. So plenty to see, a beautiful landscape, rock formation all along, 2 or 3 good tricks to see.
Okay, and you mentioned 2 of those pillar formations.
Yes. And on the back of it, this is the Rainbow Canyon, which is one of the oldest earth on North America, and some ground over there were created 2+ billion years ago, and they are the equivalent of the bottom, the very bottom of the Grand Canyon, not 100 miles away from here. So pretty interesting place. For more information about that, go to the USGS website and you will find plenty of info.
Very good. Let's get going. Okay, the first waypoint is this bridge crossing the Las Vegas Wash. So we're going to cross the Las Vegas Wash and then take an immediate left and skirt the edge of the wash over to the base of the ridge line over here, and you see a little trail on the ridgeline. We're going to take that trail upward, and our next stop is going to be the two cairns up above. You can see one of them right here. So here we go.
Here in the middle of the pedestrian bridge that brings us to the other side of the Lake Las Vegas River, this is the only evacuation of all of the water. This is the only point of evacuation of the waters of the whole Las Vegas Valley. So it's completely dry. The valley don't receive a lot of rain these last months, but it shows you how many waters escape the valley, and yeah, it's pretty impressive. So the river goes down this channel to Lake Las Vegas, then it's a long run to hit the Lake Mead a few miles away, after the dam that makes Lake Las Vegas.
Having crossed the bridge, now we're taking a quick turn right along the edge of the beautiful Las Vegas Wash. Jean-Luc has a few words to say.
Yes, looking at this Las Vegas Wash makes me thinking about how many water escape the whole Las Vegas Valley, because this is the only point of water evacuation of this whole valley that are in the back of the ridges. And even if we don't have rain too much this last fall, you could see how many water collect the whole valley, and how many water will be released to the Lake Las Vegas on your back, David, and then much later, following a narrow canyon, will reach the Lake Mead. So it's pretty impressive to be in the desert, having such a view on a river with so many birds, so many wildlife, fishes, and no, it's pretty amazing to see that.
Okay. And by the way, the coyotes here are as big as German shepherds.
Yeah.
If you see one, I'd like to say run, but don't run.
By the way, I see two of them on the ridge, just right here.
Oh,
Could you see
oh
them?
my gosh. Yeah, let's take a look. Yeah, they're waiting for us. They want to enjoy breakfast with us.
Yeah, but I think that we are too fat for them. But they are looking for the band of duck hidden in the bushes on the side of the. Look at that! They are waiting, looking at it. We will probably be closer and have a good look at it.
Okay, after a little detour chasing coyotes, and there were actually 4 of them, we have finished this little trail, as I mentioned, or this road that I mentioned skirts the upper edge of the wash, Las Vegas Wash, which incidentally drains all of Las Vegas area. And yeah, totally amazing, this wash. And you can see it's a kind of bird sanctuary. Anyway, now we're connecting with the asphalt trail here, and we'll round a corner, and then I'll show you where you leave this trail and head upward onto the ridge. Okay, continuing on here, and just beyond where we were a moment ago, here is the Ridgeline trailhead. Very soon there will be a split. There's a split off to the right. The main trail splits to the left. I'll show you where that is. But we're heading up onto the Ridgeline now. Okay, there's the trailhead down there. On that asphalt pathway. And then here it begins to ascend the ridgeline, and you can see where it splits up ahead. And you could actually take either split. They both end in the same place. The main trail, though, is the left split. This other one's just a little detour. It's got a nice view of Lake Las Vegas. So we're going to take the left split. As you can see, it winds around and eventually heads up to the ridge top ahead. We have just taken the trail system below from the Las Vegas Wash. Now we're ascending, and you can see Lake Las Vegas coming into beautiful view here. And wait till you see what's over this ridgeline. This is just incredible. Wow, look at this. And stretching out before us is the Las Vegas Valley. You can see the Las Vegas Wash descending, draining the whole basin here. Las Vegas Valley. There's the strip. And the ridge top trail continues upward.
So the view on Las Vegas and these deserted land, and then wetland park here with the Las Vegas wash running through. So many birds, wildlife. I won't be surprised to see some coyotes down the slope here. Okay, so view from here. We could see the summit we were close at in a while over there. By the way, the main exit of the Rainbow Canyon, laying between the Las Vegas Wash and the Frenchman Mountain. The whole view of Las Vegas from the airport on the left with its tower and downtown on the right. Lake Las Vegas. We could see on the fog there the boulder basin on the Lake Mead over there. The line of the dam of the Lake Las Vegas then start the channel of the Las Vegas Wash until reaching the Lake Mead over there, making a huge curve.
Okay, we've just topped this first great height you see around us. Las Vegas Wash below. There's a barrier fence, which is the barrier of the Las Vegas Wash area. I don't know if you can see it on this video. Looking over, you can see the, if you know where Horizon Ridge Road and the radio towers over in this direction. And then coming this way, Las Vegas Valley in the foreground. There's Potosi Mountain at the southern end of the Spring Mountains in the background. And then you can see the Rainbow Mountains, bordering the west side of Red Rock Canyon. There's Mummy Mountain. And then over in this direction, Frenchman Mountain. And then ahead, the two cairns up on this Red Bluff Ridgeline. There's the first. Here's the second. And then around to Lake Las Vegas and across to the Lake Mead area. And then very faintly in the rising sun is the pointy Mount Wilson in Arizona. And I totally can't see it due to the glare, but it's there. And then full circle. So there you have it. Jean-Luc is going to discuss what we're looking at as we stand at cairn number 1, heading toward cairn number 2.
Yeah, David will describe a little bit more about the big cairn that it will use as an orientation table, because there's some interesting stuff. But the thing is that once we will be on the next following ridge, we will turn left on this mountain, and bump after bump we will reach the black summit over there. And this is why we do the video around here, just to note the back of the Frenchman Mountain, and that we will do one of these days. And you could see how the layers were lifted basically vertically. Just to note that if you make a step on your right, David. Okay. Interesting to note the mountain on the back of the black one. You could see the red layers down below, covered with a huge black crust, which is a lava flow, and we are close here from Lava Butte. That are, we can see it, but this is on this direction. But Lava Butte is one of the series of the align volcanoes that finish right here on the Black Mountain over there. And if you pay attention on the map, trying to see the cinder cone and the volcanic cone, you will see that it makes a line, and everything was due to a huge crack that appeared in this whole area, and two plates move, slide each other like that, creating a chain of volcanoes. So Black Mountain volcano was erupting the last time 120,000 years ago, and then became extinct. Pretty recent, I mean, on the geologic time, you know.
Here we are at cairn number 2, and Jean-Luc has just placed a summit box. Very funny. So, yeah, this cairn has 4 wings to it, points that point to the 4 magnetic directions: north, south, east, west, as opposed to, for example, true north is different than magnetic north. True north is when you look at a map and you look straight up. Magnetic north, though, the magnetic pull is just a little bit off. It's in this area of the country, it's about 11 degrees off of the true north. So anyway, these are magnetic directions. Okay, there are the cairns we just passed. And here's the trail that continues beyond. And you'll notice that the trail continues up the ridge in this direction. And it gives you the impression this is the way to continue over. We mentioned that we're going to be visiting that black volcanic hill. But the only problem is, if you continue up this little trail beyond the cairns along this ridge, you end up at a dead end where you've got a very sharp drop off. So notice someone has placed a little marker here. There's a reason we need to descend here and skirt the edge, or maybe below. How far down do you think we need to go, Jean-Luc?
Yeah, we have to go down here from here. It looks bad, but if you see on the right of it, you have an easy access to the bottom of the cliff. And because you can see it from here, because it looks very engaging to continue this way, but you have to go down, reaching the bottom of the cliff, and then we will follow all along the bottom of the cliff till the opening between the 2 cape. I call it like that, you know, because this is 2 cliffs that were once united, but the erosion cut it through. It makes an opening that you could see if you pay attention from the parking down below. So going down, turning left, following the bottom of the ridge, and you will reach the opening. From there we will climb a little bit on the other side, and then following the ridge line that goes on the left.
Okay, and at that opening, we'll look straight up and see why we could not descend at the edge of this trail.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's an accumulation of vertical layers that were cut by erosion, forming a kind of cape over the sediment hill.
And do you want to say something about these blocks that are all around?
Yeah, so you have to imagine that there's a different layers of the sedimentary rock, and some are hard layers, some are soft, and some dissolve because of the water presence much faster than others. So at a certain point, the softer layers disappear and everything collapses on itself. So it creates this accumulation of rocks that are laying all around the surface. And the good thing about that is that it protects very well these very soft mud and dust underneath, so it protects the hills. As you could see down here on the other side, you could see that these sedimentary layers on the top are made with different colors, some lighter, some dark. So it shows that the dark one are a mix of volcanic ashes, making this layer much harder than the other one. But you could also notice that these layers were created on the bottom of an ocean, and so they were laying flat. But because of the volcanic activities that shake this whole area around here, you could see that they are lifted from the right to the left, and you could explain that by the presence of lava butte on the back that we can see from here, which was a huge volcano eruption. And so if you imagine the layers of cakes like that, you could imagine that the volcano pops up through a fault between these layers of sedimentary rock, erupting on the top, but lift the whole area like that. So on the other side you have the Frenchman Mountain, on this side you have the lake Las Vegas, and everything was lifted like that, and the volcano popped up like this. That's why you can explain the inclination of these layers right here.
Okay, and I'm going to zoom in on a dark coating on these layers, some of these blocks. You see where there was a dark coating there. And do you want to describe what causes that coating?
So before the main eruption event, there were several secondary and previous eruptions, some big, some small, but it pushes in the atmosphere a lot of volcanic ashes, and because the volcano comes from deep inside the ground, it brings to the surface a lot of metallic matters, and that accumulate on several places. Then the water goes to these cracks and makes deposit on some rocks that we call now varnish, and it's a mix of oxide magnesium that react with water, but not only with water, it's also associated with some bacteria that were living in these warm and hot waters. Interesting to see.
Okay, there is the little cairn. Remember, we had mentioned that you cannot continue on that trail along the ridge top, but you need to descend. Now Jean-Luc is going to demonstrate descending.
Yeah, I am just on the kind of big ship express trail, and this thing turns around the cliff, and pretty fast you will reach the bottom of the cliff until the opening between the two caves.
Okay, so we're going to descend and then follow. We're going to find an opening that's just at the edge of the trail above where we turned around. And so, yeah, pretty steep, but definitely you can do it.
So here we have a clear example of what I was explaining before. You have the older rock, quite red, then a layer of rocks with some clay yellow tendency color, then a dark layer made of volcanic ashes mixed with clay probably, and then several other layers. So clearly see the accumulation of sedimentary rock here.
And we just came down around this corner. What an amazing place. And here we are now hanging on to the edge of this little ledge, and Jean-Luc was talking about magnesium, and here is a nice layer that's coated with that magnesium he was talking about a little earlier. Amazing what you can see when you just move a little beyond the place you were standing above. Every perspective is just totally unique. So yeah, continuing along around the corner here as we hug the edge of this vertical area. And here's the continuation of the trail. Remember how we had reached a point where there was no continuation above on the ridgeline. You had to take this little detour below the ridgeline, below the vertical area, and the trail continues. So we'll take a look when we get back. When we get up on that trail, we'll take a look back at the point we were standing on the ridgeline above.
Look at this pile of very unstable rock on the corner of the cliff. Don't speak too loud over there. I don't want to be smashed underneath these impressive layers of rocks, very unstable. You never know if it will collapse on your head. Then the curve continue. It's a pretty easy trail all along the bottom of the cliff, and we could see the trail continuing on the saddle on the other side. So if you don't dare to engage yourself on the descending short trail that brings you underneath the cliff, you will be stuck on the top of this ridge once you will reach the cape that we could see right here. As you see, it's impossible to go down without risking your life. Lake Las Vegas down below. It was pretty cold when we start to hike this morning. The parking lot is just on the back of the bridge crossing the Las Vegas Wash, but now on the sun it's pretty warm. I remove one layer of clothes. And I guess at the end of the day or later on the day I will be in t-shirt, because a beautiful day is on its way. So here an example of the varnish I was talking about, which is magnesium oxide, working with bacteria, and it comes from these dark layers where I could see also a mix of iron, copper and different metals. So it shows us once again that a volcano is not that far. Okay, now I am reaching the extremity of the opening between, and this is where you will finish your hike if you continue on the ridge over my head. And look at that. Then this thing looks like the front of a fish hull. It is pretty amazing to see David following this easy trail on the bottom of the cliff, and Lake Las Vegas on the left, Las Vegas on the other side. What an amazing place. Another look at the cape.
This is like we're in the Grand Canyon, skirting the edge of this cliff area. And you see below, and then continuing around the corner, oh wow, this is totally amazing. Look at this. Who would imagine there were scenes like this right below the ridge we were standing on? And yes, had we continued on that trail on the top of the ridge, we would have ended up right at that edge. Definitely not something that you want to climb down unless you've got a rope, or maybe you're not entirely human. Look at that. Wow. So yeah, you needed to make that little detour down below the ridge, marked by that little cairn. And now we continue our way along. And just looking around. Incredible views here. It appears every ridge top opens up a new expansive view, unique and incredible. And here we're ascending to the next ridge top. Look at this. Wow. And look at the colors here. This is just too amazing.
This is the Rainbow Canyon.
Rainbow Canyon.
You could guess why.
Now look at the colors. Perfect lighting. Sun behind us. There's Frenchman Mountain. You're climbing the eastern side of Frenchman Mountain. Side we're looking at. See that yellow band right in the center? The approach is just to the right of that band, but it's very steep. I think this is Lava Butte, is it?
Yeah.
Lava Butte.
And you could see that the two pillars follow the exact alignment from the Lava Butte summit. You could draw a line between the two pillars, and if you continue on the other side, you will see Black Mountain. So we are here on a huge crack that happened between these sedimentary plate, and the magmatic chamber pushes to the surface and separate completely and lift every layer of sediment. And by the way, there is a series of parallel mountains, and you could see that the clearest rocks there are one of the oldest earth surface in whole North America. The oldest are in northeastern Canada, on the Labrador Plateau over there, but it's very uncommon to see such a place right here. And by the way, some rocks that you could find here, you will find it on the very bottom of the Colorado River when you start to hike from the south rim to the river. So you will have the same layers of rock. So it gives you an idea of the cataclysm events that happened right here a long time ago. And over there, on the back of the volcanic deposit, the fancy Las Vegas Strip. It's completely unusual to see such civilization place view from here. And so, as you could see, the whole Las Vegas Valley make a basin, and here we could see the only exit for the water of this basin, and this is a wetland on the right, and the Las Vegas Wash that flows to Lake Las Vegas, then Lake Mead. And if a drop of water fall down in this whole area, it will finish after a while to find a way to this place to reach the Lake Mead and basically Colorado River. And by the way, all of the mountain right here on the left are the river mountains. A lot of it, a lot to explore. And we could see the higher lines of ridge that we will do one of these days with David, that are just over Boulder City, then the Hoover Dam, and Lake Mead, the river mountain.
And there's Mount Wilson.
And Mount Wilson in Arizona, view from here, you could see that we are separated from Arizona with a cloud of smog, which is the evaporated waters that create this phenomenon, and the Lake Mead separated us from Arizona side.
Lava Butte. The two pillars Jean-Luc was talking about earlier.
So these two pillars are a try from the volcano to reach the surface. It was a final try before reaching the surface back in the days, and it's basically a petrified rhyolite pillars, and we'll feel how intense was the pressure popping up from down below to the surface, and how it remained today petrified pillars. So by the way, all of these series of parallel mountains could be climbed. It could be very steep, but the rock is pretty grippy, and you could do most of the ridgeline on all of these 3 or 4 series of parallel mountains. Pretty nice hike to do.
I think that ridge is called Razorback Ridge or Razor Ridge.
Could be, because it's very sharp.
Yeah.
It's very sharp. And every southern side of these mountains are the host of barrel cactus that are named also compass barrel cactus, that try compass because they are showing the south side of the mountain. So it's a good trick to know if you're lost in the detail.
Barrel cactus on the south side.
Yes.
So it's good directional.
Yeah, compass barrel cactus, their real name.
Oh, compass barrel cactus.
Yeah, this is the real name.
Very interesting.
I think it's California compass barrel cactus. Very long name. This is the red one. Okay, the big balls with the very hard and sharp thorns.
And then below you can see the creosote, and the creosote bushes are evenly spaced because they send out poison in their roots that keeps other creosotes from growing too closely in order to have enough water in coming to each creosote bush for it to sustain life.
Yeah, and the thing is that you could see how the ground is watered, because it depends of the repartition of the bushes. So if you have a more dense repartition, you could think that this is a place that collects more water than this one. This one is very sterile, even if the soil is very rich because of the volcanic activity. There's a lot of mineral salt
metals, everything that could provide a good support for life, but no water at all. So it creates this desertic place.
Okay, so you want to see how much rain falls? Just look at how far the creosote bushes are from one another.
Yes. And so, will you turn your camera on the right? You could see the flag of a mountain that I don't remember the name. You see it? Okay, so there is a very nice hike that reached this summit, and we will turn on the back of this summit, and from there, later in the hike, I will show you how to descend this mountain on the other side with an interesting place to visit underneath the mountain.
Very good. Okay. Well, let's continue on. We were just on the saddle, just below, and you can continue on up to that next high point, circle around. Not sure if it actually will take you all the way down, but we will be returning on the other side of these high points. And you can see back down to the trail where we skirted the edge of the Las Vegas Wash, Lake Las Vegas below. Over here, the ridge line with the towers we looked at a little earlier. We came down from that ridge line. There's the edge that you cannot descend from. And you can see how sharp that is. We came down the opposite side of this ridge line, then on up to the saddle here. And now we're going to continue. You can either descend from the saddle and skirt the area below this high point, or you can come to the edge here, and there is actually a way downward, which we are going to take now as we continue on this adventure around the Rainbow area, Rainbow Gardens. Another perspective, yeah, you can continue this ridge line that we're on and just take it, continuing all the way around as we're doing. And a lot of little constructions in this area. Here's a shelter someone built, the second shelter we've seen, and been looking over in this direction. Another cairn where Jean-Luc is.
Your view on the two cape. So from the saddle on the back of this ridge, if you continue to follow this ridge, the ridge makes a slightly turn on the right and then finishes on vertical cliff. So you have to find a way to go down in a very V-shaped canyon. The flag mountain, the two pillars on the background, the lava butte, Rainbow Canyon, Frenchman Mountain, and now we made a 90 degrees curve on the left to reach the darker summit over there. The rock on the ground are very sharp and bold. Look at that. The ground is covered with water sculpted rocks. Cut it in many ways, dig it in many ways. Calcite deposit, and oh, tender is the ground, how soft it is, and you can measure here how the upper layers of rock protect these mountains from a very fast erosion, wind and rain. Love this place. Completely sterile. Some rare creosote bushes. Nothing else. Creosote are very well adapted to such a place. No competition with other plants. Some tiny cactus here. Don't come here naked. Food will kill your foot in a minute. So now I am going from bump to bump. Choose your way. An amazing landscape. I can't resist to the temptation to leave the main ridge line. Have a look at this observation point, and then at every bump we are closer and closer from the city. Look at that. Very interesting cairn here. Very creative piece of art. The opening between the two capes over there. And just to remind you, we will follow this ridge until reaching the darker area, climbing this rocky outcrop, doing some 360 view around, and then we'll come back a little bit to go down this way to reach the canyon. And you could see now that on the left of the first pillars there is a dirt road, and we will reach soon this road, making some winding trail, because there is an opening between this ridge and the other one. So we will be a little bit later on this dirt road that climb a little bit, turning on the left of the first pillar, continuing to the second one, turning on the back of the second one, and it will mark the beginning of the return to the car. Once again, it's a completely unexpected hike that you can't guess when you come from the Lake Las Vegas side. Pretty beautiful, plenty to see, completely stunning view, and the civilization just right here.
Jean-Luc's going to tell us about the next stage of this adventure.
Yeah, I did some step on the very end of this pile of detritic rocks to have a view over the desert, and but we come back on the main ridge and we will go down this bump to continue along this ridge line to finally reach the lava ashes deposit gravel over there, and having the higher point of this hike today on the black mountain that we could see there. From there we will go down a little bit and trying to find a way to go down in the canyon down below that we can't guess from here. But if you go down, we will follow the water line, then turning left between a very narrow passage between the canyon on the back and the canyon on the front, and we will reach the dirt road that will bring us on the left of the first pillar, then continue on the back of it. The back of it is pretty interesting with one or two arches to see, and then continue the road until the second pillar. Once there, we will leave the dirt road to turn on the back of the second pillar, having a good looking at it, because it's beautiful, and we will go down on the right part of it, on a very narrow and slot canyon where the colors change at every step, and we will finally reach the back of this mountain here to come back to the car. But it's still a long way to go.
Okay, off we go.
There is the opening between the two capes, and we are now on the top of the first black mountain, and I was thinking to go down this way, but I changed my plan. We will go to the next ridge to see the several cairn that makes a stone garden over there, and then we will go down on the other canyon, and following this rocky outcrop, and then going down the canyon to finally go down on the wash, turn left just on the back of the black bump here. We are now basically on the same line with the two pillars and Lava Butte exactly on the other side, the Black Mountain over there. So this plate slide more than 20 miles. Have a look at the USGS article concerning this phenomenon. Pretty interesting to know. I forget to mention that this Rainbow Canyon is not only one of the oldest earth at the surface of North America. It's not the oldest, but one of the oldest. And it's also radioactive. So there's a lot of uranium deposit in these mountains. So interesting to know. Lake Las Vegas, that makes a kind of oasis between the two part of the Las Vegas Valley and the Colorado River Valley. Far away, hidden on the smoke, is Lake Mead over there. The Muddy Mountains here. Yeah, interesting place to visit. Las Vegas Strip.
And now on that black high point that we saw from a distance, suddenly we're in a very different landscape. From a volcanic eruption. It's like we're in a different world. Here's another little shelter. What a place to spend the night. And just show some of the sights that we can see from here. Frenchman Mountain. And I'll get the name of this ridge. I think it's Razorback Ridge, but I'm not sure. Lava Butte and the pillars we've been discussing. Rainbow Canyon. As Jean-Luc described earlier, there are rocks in this area that are among the oldest rocks on Earth. I think we might be looking at the Muddy Mountains over here. Looks about right. And to the right of the Muddy Mountains would be the Bowl of Fire, southern and northern Bowl of Fire. You can see adventures in all of these areas on LasVegasAreaTrails.com. Then over to the Lake Las Vegas area. The amazing thing about this is that you're in an ancient, untouched wilderness, and you're surrounded by metropolitan areas. Okay, and here is that opening that we came through not long ago. The ridge with the cairns. Red Bluff. And of course, going back here, it's one of my favorite prominent reference points, Mount Wilson in Arizona. River Mountains. Looking at the area south of Las Vegas and Hoover, toward Hoover Dam. And now the Las Vegas Valley in the foreground. Las Vegas Strip. It's like we're in a different world where we are at this moment. Who could imagine? And then look at the mountains in the background. These are the Spring Mountains looking toward Mummy Mountain and Mount Charleston. Mount Charleston is the snow cap. You'll see it better than I can because there's a lot of glare on the screen here. And then going along the Spring Mountains, right above the strip, you can see the Rainbow Mountains. Red Rock Canyon is on the near side of those mountains at the base. And then over to Potosi Mountain at the southern end of the Spring Mountains. So amazing place that we are from this volcanic peak to all those surrounding reference points.
So David is now descending the higher point of the day. You see how sharp and bold are the rocks. Then it will be the next descent and climb to the Garden of Stone with the most amazing view over Vegas that we could see on the back of the ridge. Once again, view from here, you have an idea of the thickness of this volcanic deposit over the original ground. The ground is red down below, the dark one are lava or magmatic deposit. So okay, next step will be the red ridge on the other side.
And now descending from the dark volcanic peak, just weaving around, finding a way down, which you can see opens up as you reach the edge of what you thought was a dead end, and then continuing on down. And our next direction is around to the pillars with Lava Butte in the background. So continuing down. And here's a portion of what we call the Garden of Stone. Las Vegas Strip in the background. And what a variation in terrain between where we're standing, the Las Vegas Strip and beyond. And beyond the Strip is the Spring Mountains. You've got everything from Jurassic era sandstone peaks in the Rainbow Mountains, more on the left, to the limestone peaks of the Charleston Wilderness, Mount Charleston, Griffith Peak, Mummy Mountain, and the others. And then here you see a lighter colored plain between us and Las Vegas. So many different variations. And then you can see, looking down in this direction, how water has etched away through these channels and on downward toward the Las Vegas Wash below. And then we look back to the area we were just standing on, and you've got the dark volcanic rock. You would have to travel many miles to see all of these different types of terrain. But here I can stand in one spot and point them all out. Totally amazing. Here's part of the Garden of Stone. Las Vegas Strip in the background. And then all along this ridge and up near the summit up there, you see more stone of this Garden of Stone. Human constructed, but pretty interesting. And looking down from this perspective, there you can see, almost in a perfect line, Razorback Ridge, I believe. I'll make an annotation in the video, and Lava Butte, and then the colorful Rainbow Canyon below. And if you look closely at the surroundings here down in the canyon, there is a series of four-wheel drive roads that begin on Upper Hollywood Boulevard and will take you all around this area. And maybe you can make out some of the roads. But you definitely want to mark them with GPS in some way, because each road leads to a different canyon. And part of the Garden of Stone here. Okay, continuing onward. Now we could call this the Upper Garden of Stone. And Jean-Luc says last time he was here, there were many more little stone sculptures, monoliths, So I've come to the conclusion that there are stone builders and stone destroyers. Which are you? And of course, there are people that just leave everything like they found it, neither build nor destroy. And I've become one of those. So you can see now, we've come full circle from the tower on Bluff Ridge, or Red Ridge, to the Garden of Stone here. And Jean-Luc, can you point out where we're going next?
Yeah, we will go down a little bit to reach a bit right here, because on the back, as you see, it's a vertical cliff, and we will cut the slope without losing too much altitude to reach the middle of these mountains here. We will pass the ridgeline and then find a way to go down, going down then to the wash, cutting directly at the end of this mountain between a narrow passage and reaching the road that will bring us to the two pillars.
There's that road.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just looking back, more of the Garden of Stone, Las Vegas Strip in the background. And onward.
I am at the top of the Garden of Stone. We will come back on our steps a little bit, passing this second summit, and we will go down on the back of it to reach this saddle right here, and then cutting the slope underneath this vertical cliff on the left. And then once we will be on the other side of the ridge of this mountain, we will go down to reach the canyon. And then I could see from here the passage between this ridge line and the other one, and this is where there is a dead truck over there. Someone probably tried to cross over it, stay stuck, and left the car body over there. Then from there it will be fast and easy to follow the road to reach finally, after probably a mile, the first pillar and the beautiful arches on the back of it that we can guess and can see from here. Then continuing the road going up and down to finally reach the second pillar, where we will come back. We are now approaching the last cairns of the Garden of Stone, but there is something very interesting to see here, and this is these conglomerates of gravel that were created by the shore of a lake or of an ocean or on the side of a river, but whatever their creation, these rocks were deposited horizontally, and it shows how tilted they are today. And by the way, these rocks are not very rounded, showing that it don't belong too much the period of shore or river edges, don't belong too much. Otherwise it will be more rounded pebbles. Okay. Okay, now I am at the higher point of the Garden of Stone. We did the lower part first, came back on here, Las Vegas on the background, and we will go down this gentle saddle, and then we will continue on the side of this mountain right here, passing the ridge and going down on the other side. Lava Butte and the two pillars in the front, and the Lava Butte road on the middle of these yellowish rocks and sediment. The conglomerate, close look at it. And a better view on where we will descend right here. Okay.
Jean-Luc has noticed some shiny objects down below. Talk about pursuing shiny objects. Well, I'm thinking it's broken glass. He's thinking maybe we're looking at gypsum crystals. So we shall find out. And continuing downward. from the stone garden above. Well, Jean-Luc was right. It is not broken glass, as I thought it might be. It's actually gypsum. Gypsum crystals. Jean-Luc's going to describe one of the uses of this crystal. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so you see how transparent and thick this crystal is. And the interesting thing is that such crystal reflect the sunlight even if you have a very thickness of clouds. So the Viking used it as a compass because they were living northern countries of Europe and crossing westbound on the ocean, and where during the day there's a lot of cloud and fogs. So if you look through this crystal over the sky, you will always find where the sun is, even if your eyes can't see it.
Ah, cloudy day.
Yeah.
You can still see the sun.
Look at that. Ooh,
yeah.
Pretty cool, huh?
That is. So we take what we see in nature and try to compare it or equate it with something that we're familiar with. And so I'm looking at what looks like a cement roadway that collapsed. But actually this is composite rock that's been created naturally. What I thought was broken glass turned out to be gypsum. So there's a lot to discover here if you just take time to look around. And then we're on a ridge line similar to Razorback Ridge over there, where there's a slope on one side. Frenchman Mountain, by the way, is also similar. Slope on the southeast side. Notice how most of the slopes are on the southeast side. And then if you look at the northwest side, you're looking at a dramatic drop-off. Lava Butte in the distance.
We are just on the edge of this vertical cliff. Look at that. Could learn to fly from here.
But you can only do it once.
Yeah, you do that once, but I mean...
That's it.
Oh, xenolith rock encrusted in these layers of river or beach shore deposit. Some are pretty big. Yeah, we could see down below the dirt road that we will reach in a while. That will bring us on the side of the two pillars. could measure here how tilted these layers are. We are facing a huge fracture network, all parallel, due to the apparition of this huge volcano over there, and that shake and tilt and twist this whole area. Garden of Stone was there, it was a higher summit. This one was the dark summit that we saw when we start, and back on the background from where we came. There's so much to see that we spend a lot of time to observe everything. Look at this conglomerate of rocks. Every step brings some new things to observe, and just a thing, try to don't sit on these tiny guys. I was thinking that in such a place you probably have no more than a dozen of plant species. It shows how specialized they are to grow in such sterile place, and here survival is the main goal. So every plant adopts a different strategy, and it could be retaining the rare drops of rain, it could be the roots network underground, it could be the dissemination of the plant, the repartition on the ground, and it could be the ability to turn the leaves off the sunlight to avoid too much hydration, or it could be just like the cactus, close the pore at the surface to avoid evaporation during the day, and during the chlorophyll function during the night, which is amazing when you think that chlorophyll need light to transform the energy transmitted from the photon to make a sugar, storable sugar. So I am close now from the saddle of this mountain, and we will find a way to go down on the other side.
Okay, we just descended from this ridge. Up in this area, Jean-Luc came sort of straight down, and I circled around and came down more diagonally over there. But either way, we both reached this plateau or gentle slope downward, and continuing on.
Choose to go down this way, cutting the slope, coming here. David is on the other side. I hope that he will find an easy way to go down. It's pretty slippery out there. Now we'll cut the slope, and turning, we will turn. We will reach the bottom of the wash, or there's a road on the side, whatever, but we will turn just after the first black bump on the left, and then reach the the road on the other side. Is the soft, the ground is soft. Look at that. Dust. Okay, reaching the one of the road that will bring us much faster to the narrow passage on the back of the black promontory.
Continuing to head toward the pillar in the center. Remember that road system that we saw from above that circled around the left side of the pillar? We have now descended to that road system. And so the going for a while is going to be pretty simple as long as we stay on the road. So onward. Came down the road here, and there is that ridgeline we were on not long ago. And you see there's no exit down the right side, definitely. And the road circles around. Now we're continuing up the canyon. Another perspective on the ridgeline we were on. Wow, it looks pretty stark. We descended down the left side. There is no good descent down the right side. It's pretty vertical. And now we find ourselves on this road looking toward the pillar. So Jean-Luc, what's next?
So just before the next, so the descent from this mountain was pretty rough, but you could find you just have to be careful to go down. And then we reached the plateau, and now we just cross through the narrow passage between these outcrop right here. We came here, and pretty fast we hit the dirt road here, and we will follow it until reaching the second pillar. It will be probably 1.5 miles or 2 miles long. Then
so we're going to circle around,
yes,
the left side of the first pillar on the road.
And then the left side of the second one too.
Okay, awesome. Continuing up the road. To round the left side of this first pillar. Then we'll see the second pillar up there. And there's that ridge we were on. We traversed the top of the ridge and then descended on the left side. And then over this way, the ridge I've been calling Razorback. Looks like it's very narrow right up at the top. And it's definitely a steep drop on the other side. And there are the stone gardens up in this area. So I just give you a perspective where we are. Arrival at pillar number 1. And here's Jean-Luc, the mountain man. And he would probably try to tell you he just came down from the pillar to stand on that rock.
So there is a nice variation in place to stay on this dirt road. You could ascend this collapsed rock slope to reach the side of this pillar and continue on the other side, depending on the season. If it's too hot, stay on the shade of the pillar. But it's pretty beautiful on the other side. But now we will stay on the road continuing, and you will see that the back of this pillar is not as it looks on this side, and there's a beautiful arch over there.
Okay, can't wait to see. And then looking down in this direction, we're looking toward the river mountains, and between us and the river mountains on the horizon is Lake Las Vegas. Here's the road we've been on, and another perspective, western side of this first pillar, and then beyond you can see that second pillar up there. Yeah, the second pillar is even more dramatic. And then Lava Butte to the left. First pillar. And second pillar. Lava Butte on the left. And Mr. Geology, what can you tell us about the pillar?
So it seems that the volcanoes that erupt over there, the Lava Butte, push everything up because it creates a huge pressure from down below, and it lifts everything up. So there's a mix. These pillars are made of rhyolite stone, which is a volcanic stone, and are covered with a mix of volcanic ashes that protect the top. And because these volcanic ashes contain a lot of xenolith rocks, the foreign rocks, it protects very well the top of these pillars. View from here, the second one looks like it will be possible to, by the right, starting to climb the slope, but it isn't. Don't do that. It finished badly, and don't do that. So, okay, next step, following the road, going down, then up, turning on the left of this rock. We will turn by the back of it. We will get back on the right side of it and have a nice view around this pillar, and then going down straight through a beautiful canyon to reach the main wash that will bring us back on the back of the mountain that have the flag that we saw, to explore 1, 2 or 3 caves before coming back.
Okay, so yeah, circle around the left side of the pillar.
Yep.
And then it looks like we follow under the power lines.
Yeah, we will be basically, yeah. I think it's a new power line.
Down the canyon.
Yeah. To me, it looks like a new power line. I don't remember seeing a power line so high in such place. I have to check my ancient pictures.
Looks like it might be coming from Hoover Dam.
Yeah, perhaps also from the solar plant that grows everywhere in the desert, you know.
Okay, onward.
Okay.
Monolith number 1. The valley down to our start point. And then ahead, monolith number 2. And the Razorback Ridge. Back to monolith number 1. And closing in on monolith pillar number 2. Then a look down to Henderson area. Galleria Drive down there. Pillar number 1. Another perspective. And you see how it's cliff on the right, nice slope on the left. And that's pretty much how everything is around here. For example, the Razorback Ridge. Nice slope on this side, and I'd almost bet that it's a vertical drop on the other side. Another perspective on the pillar. And the white stripes you see between the layers. Quite a artistic sculpting of stripes there. That's calcite from the action of water boiling up through the cracks. And now we continue around the left side of the pillar and then downward. And to give you an idea of the difference of the terrain between the western and eastern side, we are now on the eastern side of the pillar. We traversed right at the base of the pillar to get over to this side. Remember how everything on the eastern side is more gradual. First, we take a look up the pillar, over to pillar number 1 in the distance, and look at this. Much more gradual, and yet definitely not a giveaway. There are some rift canyons in between where we are in the road. Maybe not too bad, but they'll definitely let us know that we're not on flat land. And now descending from the second pillar, we came around the right side And here we are, descending down, down, down into the canyons below. Ultimately, what we want to do is basically follow the power lines back to our start point. The bridge that we crossed was the power line bridge when we crossed the Las Vegas Wash. And these suspiciously look like the power lines that cross over that bridge. Here's Jean-Luc with a message for us.
Yeah, you know, sometimes in the desert where everything seems empty, you make unexpected encounters. So I have all my time because the one I will show you won't run away too fast, but look at me.
Oh.
Oh, this one's dead.
Okay, so much for a rescue.
Yeah, I believe it was alive, and it happened very often that the desert tortoise fall down in the canyon and don't have enough resources to survive, or could pass away, drown. Just an interesting thing, inside their shell, you could see that their spine is thick to the top of the shell inside. This one have a pretty good size, and I was thinking to do a rescue, but okay, too late.
Nope. Beyond rescue.
Yeah. So the rescue of such an animal, if you find it, tortoises are scared about the altitude, and if they are 2 or 3 feet over the surface of the ground, they could pass away of a heart attack. So maintain, if you find one, to try to save her. Try to hold it low as possible, and bring her to a place where she won't be trapped, because look at this canyon. She's trapped inside and she can't escape. She passed away because of that, you know.
Very narrow canyon here.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no way out for a tortoise. Not a whole lot to eat in here. A view back up through this narrow canyon to the pillar. And then down around. As we continue downward. We've actually passed through a lot of different colors not long ago. Jurassic era sandstone, as in the Rainbow Mountains. Okay, we came down that narrow canyon, connected with this road, and you can see Lava Butte so close. You can almost climb there from here. And so we're heading down the road back toward our starting point. Okay, how did we get back to this point? Here's the original asphalt pathway. And here is the road system that we took. Went over to Lake Las Vegas at the base, along the base of the hills there. came out here, and then here we are back on the trail. Here's the bridge, and then right across the bridge, Terrazza Park, where we started. And we close with the last look at the Las Vegas Wash. Flows like this year-round, emptying out the entire Las Vegas Valley into Lake Las Vegas and ultimately Lake Mead. And there's Terrazza Park.